Hey guys, this is Fergal from Poker VIP. Welcome to part 3 of our cash game series over at Uncuts Poker. So if anyone hasn't been watching the series throughout, what we've been doing with this is something a little bit different. We have been incorporating a specific rule set into each and every session that we've played, where we have to adhere to certain pre-flop rules. So part 1, we had a 100% RFI strategy, so anytime the action was folded around to us, we had to open ourselves, regardless of our holding. Part 2, we had a 100% 3-bet on the button facing a single raise. And part 3, we're going to have a 100% 3-bet from the blinds facing a single raise, facing a single late position raise. So if anyone from the button or the cutoff elects to raise and we are in the blinds, we must 3-bet. That's the general strategy. And we'll see how we get on. And as I said, the whole kind of focus on this series is to kind of put ourselves in some unusual and awkward post-flop spots and talk through how you deal with these kind of unusual spots, because a really good way of getting better, well, this isn't going to be a profitable strategy, it does make you think about certain spots a lot more, and that's kind of what we're looking to do. So Ace-Jack, we are 3-betting here. We'd be 3-betting this anyway, so this isn't a deviation, but this would be an example of a spot where we must raise regardless of our holding, and we take it down without a fight, which is fine by me. Tahutu elects to re-raise us. We get to see a pretty cheap flop given the amount of money in there, 16 cents to win 72. We're definitely going to be seeing a flop with the suited connectors. So let's go, dealer. Unfortunately, we do not see any of the cards that we wanted to see, although that's not strictly true. A 3 wasn't the worst to start off with, but after that it was pretty slim pickings. This guy leads on this board, which is kind of interesting. It seems like a really strange board for him to lead into 2 people. Either way, we don't have a hand that we're able to continue with, so we're just going to let it go. So we have King 8 in the big. If anyone here opens, we must 3-bet. We're going to go ahead and ISO ourselves. One point to note is it's only from the cutoff or the button. If the small blind raises, we do have the option of just flatting as well. So the button limp calls. This guy, he did limp call quite a strong holding if I remember. It was like King, Queen suited. So we do need to be a little bit conscientious of his limp calling range. We flop a pair and we're getting an outrageously good price. We're obviously going to see a turn. We are going to check and hopefully this guy checks behind. If he does bet again, we're still getting an incredibly good price. When this guy calls as well, though, I think our 8 is very unlikely to be good, so we're going to go ahead and just give this one up. 7-10 tries to get there with his gut shot, picks up a pair and calls again. Okay, 6-Jack, we must 3-bet. And we're going to call here versus Zahak with our Jackety-Jack. We're just going to be in call down mode here. We do pick up a gut shot, which is quite nice. We're going to bet here. When he checks, it's unlikely he has the overpairs, although he could be slowing down with some overpairs potentially, but I think his range is going to be more so weighted towards ace-high hands, so we want to make sure that we charge them if they want to see the river. So here's a spot where the small blind opens, so because it's the small blind and not the button, we're not compelled to 3-bet, so we can just go ahead and flat in position with the hand that lends itself well to doing so. And we're going to bink it up with the jacks, and we're just going to flat here. Ace-9, raising ace-9 here doesn't make tons of sense. Very unlikely we get much action from worse. We're going to check this back and we're just going to go for 1 street of value on the river. 1 extra street of value, should I say. Hopefully a hand like King Jack or King 10 calls it off. They do not. The King, obviously not our favourite card to see, but he has gone quite small here. We are going to see a turn at the very least. He sticks with the same size, so we're going to see a river. King on the river is quite cool for us, reduces his King X combos, and he just has the queens, so we could have gotten it all in pre there if he had elected to do so. We're certainly not going to be folding jacks ourselves. Ace Queen suited, good enough for an open, and the Jack 8. We're going to have to 3-bet it here as well. We've been pummeling this guy quite a lot with 3-bets. I'd say he's going to be getting pretty sick and tired of us with this by the end of the series. He does come back over the top. We're going to have to give this one up. And we get paid with the ace and the queen. Feels like we haven't won a pot in a little while, so it's nice to pick one up and pick one up for the good guys. Ace 5 suited, we are going to bring it in for a raise if it is folded. We're not planning on calling or doing anything versus an under the gun open. Okay, so it's been 3-bet here. We wouldn't have been compelled to 3-bet because there has been an opening raise and a flat call, so we could have just gone ahead and folded here anyway. Obviously facing this jam, we must. Ace 6, I mean, that is just a shockingly terrible call. He's just going to be in such awful shape against basically everything he's jamming. Like, there's so few hands that he's doing in any way well against, so that's just an absolutely horrendous call down. Okay, pocket 8s, we're going to call and see a turn. Now we're obviously going to be ISOing here versus this Lundov player, who does seem like he's going to be certainly one of the weaker players in the game. And we're going to call it off here with the 8s. If he's value betting an 8 or a 10, well done. And he just has the overpair, which also makes a lot of sense. He shut down. He checked the turn because he was obviously afraid of the flush. And when I checked back, he figured I didn't have it, so he went for value, which does make a lot of sense. 8s, again, just one of those hands. We probably could have folded there. Let me think about that one. Certainly would have been a reasonable fold. I don't think our call, again, though, can ever be construed as atrociously bad. 5-8, we're really hoping we either get a walk or someone that isn't from the cutoff or the button opens, because we definitely don't want to have to 3-bet here, but looks like we're going to have to. Fortunately, he goes nice and small, so we're going to be able to get away with a cheap re-steal. This guy is new to the table as well, so he hasn't seen us 3-betting left, right, and centre. We've definitely been doing a lot of it. So let's pray we get the fold here. We do. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And the suited ace, suited semi-connectors we're going to bring in for a steal, blind versus blind. Okay, because there's been a limper, we're not compelled to 3-bet the ace 4. We may still want to do so, depending on the action. We're actually going to go huge here, try to get this guy to fold a 10, or potentially a better draw to us as well. Could have even considered an overbet here, but I would have preferred to have some sort of additional equity to do so, i.e. a gut shot or at least an overcard. So we would have flopped bottom pair with the ace 4. Would have been a pretty tricky spot multi-way. It's not a spot that I think we were going to be looking to get to showdown very often. Certainly not going to be looking to invest much money in anyway, if any more, if we had seen a flop. Okay, 8-7, potential 3-betting hand coming up. The same with the 5 and the 3. I'm wondering should I have made this rule just from the big blind, because having the small blind as well is pretty wild. It means like there's just especially because a few of the tables are playing 5-handed and stuff, like this guy's sitting out, for example. We're going to have to 3-bet a hell of a lot going forward. But it's kind of fun, and as I said, it's making for some interesting spots post. The 5 and the tray, definitely not an advised hand to be 3-betting from this, but if it gets through, it gets through, so it must be profitable, right? That's how poker works, yeah. We get 3-bet with the 2s, we have to call 28 to win 58. This guy, if he was deeper, we would look to flat and go set mining, but we're not in a situation where we are looking to do that given the price that we're getting there. Fortunately, we do get the fold through when we are full of it, so we're not going to complain. The 5 and the tray, we're just going to let go. Ace Queen suited, going to be bringing it in for an open. 7-8 suited, we wouldn't have minded 3-betting this hand, but we just get to open it ourselves. And we're going to 3-bet the Ace Queen suited here. In position versus player 2 over on the Anon table. Okay, flop top pair. Let's have a wager. Let's have a wager. And just check folds. So we chip up ever so slightly again. Nothing too massive, but, you know, slowly but surely, slowly but steady wins the race. Ace 8. At least you have an ace blocker this time if we do elect to 3-bet. Which we are going to. We've been absolutely pummeling this guy with 3-bets. This is like our third or fourth in the last very small number of hands. Let's see if he continues folding. He hasn't played back at us yet. He does indeed. So, kind of just like this, doing this kind of thing, it really kind of goes to show you the power of 3-betting, like, and how, like, a lot of people will just overfold to an absurd degree, even when it becomes quite clear what you're doing. We're just going to flat here in position against this guy. We're reasonably deep. I mean, it's a hand where I wouldn't mind 3-betting, but flatting when we have position seems perfectly reasonable as well. Pretty okay flop. We have a marginal backdoor flush, and we have the toppest of the pairs. We're going to start this off with a bet. And again, we're not compelled to 3-bet here, because there's a caller, but I think we are going to go ahead and do it anyway. We take that one down. No harm, no foul. We definitely don't want to go all in. But we are compelled to have a 3-bet. And not really surprised to see this guy calling. I'm just going to go ahead and pot it and try to maximize our fold equity against him. Unfortunately, he does call. I'm going to go again on the large side. Oh dear, I guess he just had the 10. I guess he had the 10. So that's the kind of thing that, like, the sort of adjustments that we're going to need to make to our game, where it's not like a particularly good spot, but like in theory he shouldn't have much 10x there, but I mean, I guess he just definitely had a 10 there if he is raising the turn. But he seems a bit stationy, so I wanted to see if we could get some folds from him by going quite large, but it seems like we are not, so may need to readjust against him. Unfortunately, he's sitting out. He seems like he's a very weak player. He's definitely built up some stacks, but if we were playing our regular strategy against him, I would really fancy my chances to have a pretty huge edge on him overall. So definitely wouldn't mind seeing him sit back in. Hopefully he does come back. Queen deuce on the button, nothing we're going to be doing there, but we will be opening the king and the queen of red. Again, let's go ahead with our ridiculous over 3-betting strategy. See if we can take this down with the king and the 8, which we do. Unfortunately, I haven't, we've just been getting tons and tons of folds. We haven't really got ourselves in many awkward post-flop spots. There was that one against this dude here. That was about the height of it, though. Actually, one adjustment I'm going to make, I'm going to size down my 3-bet here because this guy is quite short stacked, so going our full 4x and we're out of position doesn't really appeal to me. We're just going to fire one and done here on the king high board. Hopefully Melissa BGG goes for the fold. They go for the raise instead, so we're going to have to throw our cards in the muck. I'm guessing people are maybe coming onto our strategy that we are just playing absolutely wild. So that's why it's obviously not as great. Probably would have been better to do these all on anonymous tables. That might have made a little bit more sense, actually, come to think of it. I might fire up anonymous tables for the final part. See how we get on there, because at least it's a little trickier to get reads on people when they're just all anonymous numbers. It means that no one can be playing with the HUD against me either, which is quite cool. I have to say, I really like the anonymous tables. It's one of the huge advantages of sites like Guts Poker, that you have these anonymous tables where HUDs are disabled, and you can get reads on certain people as they're playing with them. Like, you can take notes on these guys, but once they leave, those notes are gone forever, basically. We got 3-bet here with the ace tray. Nothing we're going to be able to do but just go ahead and stick our hand in the muck. We don't have to 3-bet here because it's from under the gun, so we're going to go ahead and just let this one go. Although we could have called there potentially. He's a little bit deep. Maybe a call might have been better. It's going to be close either way. A call isn't going to exactly make us tons of money, but it's not going to lose us much either if it is a losing play. Get a walk with the queen 9 suited, we definitely don't mind that. And we won't mind having to 3-bet a 10 and a 10 either, if it comes to it. We don't get to 3-bet it, but we do get to open it ourselves. I'd love to see our overall session stats for this session. I feel this part in particular has been pretty wild. We've been sticking, I think, pretty well to the 3-betting out of the blinds. I mean, I'm sure I've probably missed a couple here and there, but in general, I think we've been sticking to it pretty well. But as I've kind of discussed this in previous parts, it's really difficult to stick to strategies that are outside your predefined strategy when you've got multiple tables on the go, because some things are just such automatic folds that you just kind of look over and you just fold without thinking when you see you've got action. Okay, we flop middle pair. We're going to start this off with a check back. We do have the backdoor hearts to go along with it, which is quite nice. We just get to call down here now on pretty much any run out. We are going to call. If he's a jack, then GG. He has the triple fives. That's upsetting. He elected to bet there, am I right? You'd think he bet third pair on the turn, I think, which seems unusual. Makes a little bit of sense, I guess, though. If Barry Smith elects to 4-bet us here, I think we're going to go with our hand. This is one of the adjustments we're going to have to make when we are playing as wild as we are. When people are going to start playing back at us. He did 4-bet us earlier on the last time we 3-bet him. So it's kind of sucks, but you sort of have to make those adjustments and just start going with it. Otherwise, people will just be able to take advantage of you way too easily. We flop top 2 pair, which is fantastic news. We're going to start this off with a check back and try to allow him to catch up a little bit. Unfortunately, he doesn't. So we just take it down. Not a disaster, we still win the pot, but obviously we would have preferred to get a little bit more money in there if we could have. Deuce 5 versus under the gun, we can just fold from the blinds. Gets 3-bet anyway from Pedgeper. King 10 in the blinds, pretty reasonable hand if we do have to 3-bet it now, if player 6 or 1 decides to open. It's a hand where I could go either way. If the button opens, we can just defend, or we can use it as a 3-bet, and it's something that I would do with some degree of frequency. I would use both lines. Okay, we 3-bet by Barry Smith. We are going to defend here with the suited Broadway hand. See a turn. We're going to float one street here and look to take it away on the turn if he checks to us. He goes ahead and he fires the double barrel. We do pick up a gut shot, but we're not getting the right price to draw to it, unfortunately. My logic there was that the queen shouldn't have hit him overly hard, so like he's going to have a lot of like ace kings and stuff like that he will probably just bet once and give up. But when he does fire the second barrel, we have a pretty trivial give up ourselves, even with the additional gut shot equity. We've just been getting an incredibly large amount of folds with their 3-bets. We definitely have been caught out in a few spots here and there, but overall, we haven't been doing too badly with them, that is for sure. We get 3-bet here by Tohatu. He has been 3-betting us a little bit. Given he's a short stack, I might just go with the 7s here. Let me think this through. Yeah, we're going to go with it here. Let's just rip it. And we get the fold through, which is fine by me. The Jack and the 5, definitely not a hand that would typically be in our 3-betting repertoire. But we are going to go ahead and click it back on him. I'm going to size down here given he is a short stack. And we get the fold through. Result. And we're going to let the a6 go here versus the under the gun open. A6 is going to behave pretty poorly overall against under the gun open. And finally, we pick up a decent hand to actually get some action with. So hopefully people are just sick and tired of our non-stop relentless aggression and decide to make a play against us now. I almost folded the 4-9 suited here. Almost. Almost. Fortunately, I realized before I clicked that button, though. We cannot continue there facing a 4-bet, unfortunately. Even though he was laying us a good price, it's just that trashy hand. And we get no action with our aces. Unfortunate. Definitely unfortunate. But it kind of been the way, like, the tables have been quite nitty so far. I'm playing at a different time than I normally am. Normally the tables are pretty damn good. A little bit more actiony, but they have been relatively nitty so far here. But maybe that just changes a little bit depending on the time of day, or maybe I've just gotten unlucky with my table selection. Both are plausible scenarios. We pick up a weak double gutter. Any 8 gives us the straight, any queen gives us a bad straight, given that any ace is a higher straight in that scenario. When he pots it, we're just going to let this one go. We would have called a smaller bet, but facing a pot size, we'll just let that one go. Keeping in mind that it's not likely, but it is entirely possible that we are drawing dead there. They have, every combination of ace queen in their range. It's not a huge concern, but definitely something to be a little bit mindful of. Three betting Barry Smith again, of course. We're going to use the ace blocker here and just rip it against Toka 2 again. We do get a call this time, and we have the ace and the king to contend with. That is not a very promising flop for us. King for the chop, no dice. So my rationale there was that he has been 3-betting our opens somewhat regularly. He did 3-bet fold the last time round. Ace-5 suited, we have blockers to his decent ace-x. And a suited wheeled ace there will have, okay equity versus all of his pocket pairs except for exactly aces. So a lot of the time we're going to have, if we do get called, we'll still have 30% plus equity. Unfortunately, that wasn't one of them, where he just had the ace-king, but we still have some outs, right? If it was ace-6 suited, it's actually a worse hand to be doing that with. Having the wheel connectivity there definitely does improve your overall equity of the suited ace holdings. So this session so far has definitely been the least profitable. We've dropped a bit of a bomb doing the 3-bets from both blinds. Was definitely a mistake doing it, I think, because you're just 3-betting way too much. And your table image is just crazy. But looks like we might get a walk this time, which doesn't happen all that often in these games, but potentially might this time. If Melissa does open, we are certainly defending. Because there's already been a 3-bet here, we can just let the 10-8 suited go. Ace-8, we just get the folds through, take down the blinds. And ace-king, definitely hoping we get a little bit of action here. If we manage to get all the chips in the middle pre-flop, I won't be too upset. This ace-king hand looks like it's going to be the last hand of the session. Oh my word, what a flop. What a flop. We are just going to be betting here. betting and seeing if we can get paid. We're going to pot it here, and then we're going to pot again on the river. Actually, I'm just going to jam the river. They call it pot, they probably call it jam as well. We have top pair versus the same player here, so dual pots on the go versus Melissa. We're going to be all in here. If they have a set, then GG. They folded this table. I wonder, are they going to call off here to spite me? No, they make the fold. Alright guys, this has been Fergal. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back again soon with part 4. Take care.